Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Artist Blueprint. John Henry Soto here, along with George Batista. As always, thank you so much for tuning in with us here. We are coming to you live from Nashville and upstate New York. We have a very, very interesting show today. We're going to be talking about duos in music history. There's a lot of them that I had no idea that they were duos to begin with. Me and George didn't know, and some very interesting facts and some numbers, really interesting stuff. So we're going to be jumping in there and talking about that. So come on back. All right, so we're going to be talking about famous duos in music, and we are now, as some of you know, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at the artistblueprint.live. And Sunday nights, we're going to be here. And this is our third, I believe, our third show on a Sunday night. Is that right?
Yeah.
Third, right? Our third show Sunday night. And I like it.
Me too.
I feel that it's going to be a good place for us in the long run. It also gives us a place to kind of start our week from.
Right.
And kind of, Tuesday was always I think Tuesday started because of other reasons. It wasn't because we chose Tuesday. I think it was we all had I had other things going on and I couldn't make any other day. But Sunday nights are really good, and we're joining some elite people on Sunday night shows like Ed Sullivan. Let's go back 40 years.
Hey.
Why not, man?
For those of you who know who Ed Sullivan was.
Yeah, people are like, Ed Sullivan, wasn't she in that new...
I saw him on TikTok.
Yeah. He's on TikTok, right? He's got like a viral video right now. So good. That guy, man, Sullivan. I don't know why I make him talking that way. But anyway, here we are, and we're going to be talking about this. So before we do that, we're going to be talking about our sponsor, and I'm going to turn it over to George so he can actually give some love to our sponsor.
I love you, sponsor.
I love you, sponsor. Thank you.
All right, so the Artist Blueprint is brought to you by Wellness Resources, family-owned and operated, nutritional supplement company providing the highest quality, clinically formulated supplements since 1985. Man, they are still going strong. Find out why they are still going strong and have amazing supplements. Check out their website at myvitaminresource.com. Don't forget your two big savings. The first one, because you are our viewers and listeners, you will get free shipping if you enter the promo code Artist Blueprint at checkout. Everybody loves free shipping. And then on top of that, don't forget their monthly specials. Brand new month, brand new special. This month special is 25% off their longevity supplements. And that includes Brain Protector and Physitin and many, many more. They have some really, really good supplements for the brain. And remember, last time we talked about the gut, but like I said, the gut does affect the brain as a two-way highway going back and forth. John, I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot more going up than coming down. So we have to make sure that our brains are in good shape. So it's 25% off their longevity supplements. So check them out at Wellness Resources at myvitaminresource.com.
Sweet. Physitin. Physitin.
Let's get Physitin. Physitin. Yeah, we're ridiculous like that.
So, yeah, we doing some research on the duos. There's always the ones that we always kind of like will come to mind are obviously Simon and Garfunkel, Hall and Oates, but there were a lot of them that I just did not really realize were even duets. So we're going to go online to have some information here, some kind of cool information. If anybody wants to chime in with any information they have, please just put it into the comment section there of whatever platform you're viewing this on, and we'll definitely take it up. But thank you for being here. So what are your thoughts on it, on you from doing your research?
Well, again, it's kind of the same thing. I didn't realize, some certain people were, or certain acts were duets, because we talked about it like earlier, like the Eurythmics was a
Oh, yeah.
duet and didn't even think about it, right? It was just, I always thought of them as the band, the Eurythmics. But I mean, but going even going way back into the old days. I mean, they even have Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell
Oh,
as
yeah.
a duet, which they did.
Yeah.
Now they weren't
Ain't
really
no mountain high
exactly.
enough.
Now I wouldn't necessarily consider them as a long term duet, but they did
Yeah, that
do
was interesting that
right
that they
that they
have
have them there, right?
yeah. Because I mean, like Ike and Tina are on there, but that makes sense because they were known as Ike and
Correct.
Tina Turner, during those years, But yeah, Marvin Gaye and Tammy you always kind of thought as separate, but
Yeah.
I think sometimes also these people that these artists they come together so strongly and create something that's so memorable that people just automatically. It kind of reminds me, we were talking last week about Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers.
That's right.
They sort of have that kind of chemistry. I'm surprised that they don't get put out because they did a lot of music together. They did
True.
albums together and they toured and they did a lot of work together. Um, so it's interesting when you see how they put these guys together. So we're going to talk about this basically the duets, but we're also one of the things that I fascinated about is how duets, how two artists work better than three and four,
Hmm.
and two just seems to be a really good combination. I mean, you can talk about the Beatles, but we have Paul and John.
Yeah.
They really kind of work really well together.
That's right.
And if you go to a lot of the bands, like there are always two that kind of work together on the music side of it. You look at Rush, right? We Love Rush, 3-man band. Neil wrote the lyrics, but it was really Alex and Neil. I mean Alex
Getty.
and Getty that got together and did the music and the arrangement. And Getty really was like the leading force of a lot of the arrangements and really where he worked. He was the workaholic of
Mm.
of the band.
Yeah.
It's sort of like in the Beatles, you had Paul McCartney was the guy that would call up the lads and be like, all right, let's get into the studio, and they would call them, then they would all get in and record. But if it was left to Ringo actually said this himself. He said if it was left to him and George, they just sit around and drink tea all day and just talk, you know.
That's true.
But Paul was always like, we got to get this going, and then John would kind of fall in, and then they would motivate each other. But there's something about the duos, that really complement each other, because you only have one other source to go to for something, and
Yes.
usually it's that trust factor. It's what started it from the beginning, right?
Right. Right.
Most duets kind of got together because they worked well together. It wasn't
Mhm.
like a studio put them together or some record company decided to create, a super duo group or something.
Mhm.
It's more organic
Yeah.
than a boy band that, can be manufactured and auditioned for the singers and parts and all that. Whereas like Ike and Tina Turner, they were dating, you know, a really good, healthy relationship they had there going. And I think that also, kind of comes in with the game. There's a little bit of a friction
Yeah.
when you have, two people also, especially if you have personalities that are a little bit, more stronger, and they're a little bit more forceful in the way they operate. So you have, Tina is a force. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't, she was just an incredible force. And Ike was a great musician also, but had a lot of issues and a lot of
Did he?
problems in dealing with things and dealt with them not in the right way. But together they made some great music,
Absolutely.
and yeah, so I think that's important to look at.
But if you think about it when they're starting out, especially back then. I mean, now it's a little bit different the way things start out, but back then, even when you and I started, right? I think their goal was really the band dynamic, right? Their
Right.
goal was we're gonna get into a band. We're gonna have 4 or 5 members, and we're gonna go out there, right? But so you kind of start with that goal, but you hook up with that one other person,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you two are clicking so well, right? And sometimes it could be just the fact of, you know what, you and I click so well, let's just do it together,
We don't
and
need.
then we don't need anybody else. And then what you end up having, those groups like the Steely Dans of the
I was gonna
world,
say Steely Dan. Yeah.
who didn't need, everybody else was a session musician,
Right. They
right?
just hired.
But even when they, so yeah, a lot, I think a lot of those started that way. But those two people clicked, and then they just brought other people around them. And funny, because I think about you and me, actually, if you really think about it, because at the end of the day, when you look at the beginning of everything started at the end, you and I were there from beginning to end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though the best guys came in the latter half of the situation, but you and I were the ones that started it. You and I were the ones that ended it.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think about that too. And it's also the audacity that you need to have
Right.
to say it's us two, and we're starting a band, and then we're
Correct.
bringing people into this world.
Yeah.
Like, why would they want to be here? Why would they want? Why?
Yeah.
You know, and so you have to then bring the goods. You have to bring your talents, and you have to say it's almost like in a way it's like a film as well. Because you have a film, you have a script, you have a camera, and then you have to get somebody to really believe in what you're doing and believe in the essence of the actual product.
Right.
So when you're starting a band, it's the same kind of thing. But I think it's so much easier for you and I when we were starting our first bands. It was so much easier for it to just be us,
Oh yeah.
and then
Yeah.
have everything else,
Yeah.
bring in stuff.
Yeah.
I brought in, the singer, and we bring in a bass player. Then he didn't work out, and then he's gone. We bring in another bass player. It's just that it's so much easier because we have the framework of what we have in our minds as what we want to do, and then you find someone that's okay with doing that.
Right.
You have to, because that's another thing. You can't force people in your band, and if they don't like the music, or if they don't like what's happening, or they don't like the direction of the band, well, then that's that. And we go back to the Beatles again. It was Paul, John, right, and I think George and John knew each other since they were like 12 years old. And they all knew each other from around the way. But these guys grew up together. So it was really Paul and John that really framed and pushed them into the cavern where they played, and they really honed their skills.
Right.
And then, of course, George Martin was the one that brushed them off and cleaned them up and gave them a look.
Yeah.
Because before that, they had leather jackets and they had their hair, and all that stuff. So he wanted to have something completely different, and he had those suits, and it was complete. And they were smart enough at 20 years of age to be like, yeah, okay, let's do that. Because really, I've actually had conversations with young singers here, and I tell them, it'd be really cool if you did something like, I don't want to do that, and it's just my own opinion, but I feel there's an innate burning thing that says it would be really great because you're so good at this, you're so good at that, you're so good at this. This is what you should highlight,
Sure.
you know.
Sure.
So it takes a lot of self, understanding and awareness level in order to team up with one other person and then say you guys are going to try to do this thing,
That's
And
right.
I guess Hall and Oates, is a perfect example. I know that there's some issues going on right now. I don't know exactly what it is, but the oats have gone dry and the halls are empty. No, but yeah, they're having some issues right now, and which is unfortunate because they're like one of my favorite bands. I
Same
mean,
here. I mean, as a kid,
those
I
guys,
had a lot of their albums, man.
yeah, I mean those melodies. I don't even know. I mean, I guess it's pop rock music. I
Pop
mean,
rock, yeah.
pops because some people call it, yacht rock, and which I know it's not a popular term, but there's stations called yacht rock, and that's where you get, yeah, it's literally yacht rock.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. If you go to any thing, just type it in yacht rock, and you'll get all the songs that you and I really like. You get
Wow.
the Christopher Cross, you get the Air Supplies, you get the Hall and Oates, You get Dan Fogerty,
Fogelberg,
Fogelberg, or one of those guys.
and
One
yeah,
of the
John Fogerty and Dan
John
Fogelberg.
Fogerty and yeah, one of those guys. But you get those all those songs that we I really liked, you
Yeah,
know, from there. So with Hall and Oates, I think when you reach that level because they are legends. They've I think they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm
I
not
think
sure if that's
they
the
are.
case or not, but
They are.
I think they are. Maybe not. I don't even know, to be honest with
If they're not,
you.
they should be
I know.
by this
Lately, I've
point.
been really shocked at who's not
Who's
in
not
the.
in there, right? Yeah.
Like, I didn't know Peter Frampton was never in. He just got
Really?
in.
He just
He just got in.
wow.
I mean, Peter Frampton. I was like, how's Peter not there 20 years ago, 30 years ago? That dude was
Well,
like a monster.
look how long it took Rush to get in,
That's another travesty.
right? I mean, that's
That was like
ridiculous.
another travesty. That made no sense whatsoever.
No.
They're coming into this country for 30 years at that point,
Yeah.
filling up stadiums across the country, selling millions of records, and people in Rock and Roll hoping, "And you're wrong." I'm like, what are you looking at, bro? What are you freaking looking at? Anyway, so one thing that I actually was surprised that I kept running into the Carpenters
Mm.
because Karen and Richard were brother and sister duo, and they started the Carpenters, and they're extremely successful band. And Karen was an amazing musician, singer, drummer, an amazing accomplished drummer, and they had some great hits
Hmm.
as well.
Hmm.
So they come up a lot of times they come up on the top of the list, which is I thought was kind of surprising.
Yeah. I mean, the I mean, Karen Carpenter. I mean, the thing is, I didn't know a lot about her brother. I mean, I knew he was there, but I didn't, because
Yeah, he plays the
she's
piano.
kind of the she's kind of the driving force. But he was there, right?
Yeah.
But to me, she's one of my favorite female artists. Period.
She's
Just
one of my favorite artists.
yeah, period. Yeah, you're right. It's just
Female.
artists because it's not only yeah, okay, I'm a drummer. She's a great drummer, absolutely, but her vocals
Yeah,
are
it's just butter.
unbelievable. Anybody out there
Angelic.
who has never listened to Karen Carpenter, they were really great, especially in the late '70s where they had a lot of hits and stuff. But her singing was so effortless.
Yeah, and look at the catalog. Don't
Yes,
just go into the hits. I mean, there's "Close to You" and
yeah, but
all these
the
great
other stuff,
songs. But just go to the catalog and see some of the songs that like probably never got played on the radio. And they're just incredible, incredible songs. And I love to do that with an artist, especially an artist that that's famous for a number of hit records. Like
mm,
they'll have like 5 or 6 really great, but go into the catalog and listen to the songs that nobody ever heard. There usually you'll find an amazing, amazing catalog, amazing songs that just didn't make it to the radio for whatever
right,
reason, but could have easily have been the hits.
sure.
Yeah, so definitely they're one. So I'm gonna go down the list here, and then if something rings a bell on something, you stop me.
Yeah, and I have one that is kind of I would consider them a duo, even though in a technical sense they're not. But I'll throw it out there afterwards, just to kind of
All right, Tom and Jerry.
yeah.
Tom and Jerry.
lucky
Simon
lucky
and Garfunkel.
guess.
Simon and Garfunkel were known as Tom and Jerry originally. That was their first name.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. Google that. You see
Tom and
it. They were
Jerry
Tom and Jerry. They even were on the radio and had a couple of hit songs
as Tom and Jerry.
as Tom and Jerry. As Tom and
Who
Jerry.
says you don't learn stuff on this show?
Yeah, this is an educational podcast. All right, so here on number one, it has the Everly Brothers.
Mm,
Wake up, little Susie, wake up. Simon and Garfunkel,
of
like
course.
a bridge over troubled
Ooh,
waters.
nice.
Great song, amazing song. Do you know that song? Little story. That song was actually Paul wrote that song, of course, because
Hmm.
he wrote most of the
Right,
song,
right.
and he said, he didn't think it was going to be a big hit. So he just tells Artie, as we call him, he just said, Artie, why don't you sing this one, and it became his most famous
Famous
song.
one. Yeah.
And then he just remembers always having to step back and singing the song that everyone was there waiting for, and
They're
he's coming
wild.
back. And then he said, "This is him saying," and I'm sure he's chilled out by now. Obviously, he's 80s, but he says, in his head he's thinking, author. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
wrote the damn song, But
That's right.
people are just, but of course, Art Garfunkel just freaking nailed that. I mean, that recording is to me one of the greatest vocal recordings of anything
Yeah.
ever. I
Hmm.
mean, it's just unbelievable. So I love that. Um, Sam and Dave,
Hmm.
Hold On, I'm Coming.
Yep. Yep.
Marvin Gaye, as you mentioned,
Yep.
and Tammy Terrell,
All
Ain't No
right.
Mountain High Enough. Ike and Tina Turner, It's Gonna Work Out Fine. Outcast,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are, yeah. The Righteous Brothers. I always get the Everly Brothers and the Righteous
Righteous
Brothers. I
Brothers.
always get them confused. But
And every time they went around, they were never Mr. Righteous, right? They never signed their name Righteous. It's always some other
no,
name.
it was always some of the,
That was a Cheers joke.
was it?
It was Woody Harrelson. That's what,
Woody,
when
they just stare at him.
Bill Medley comes in, he goes, "How come his name's not Righteous?"
Yeah, how come he's gonna sign Righteous? You're one of the Righteous Brothers. You've Lost That Love and Feeling, great song that they did. Let's see. Some people here that I'm not too familiar with, but this is the wonderful thing about music, and the wonderful thing about this show is that I think we talk about things that we don't really talk about. Like people don't
Hmm.
talk, like Shirley and Lee. You know Shirley and Lee?
I
Let the
don't
Good
know.
Times Roll,
Ah, yeah. Okay, I know that.
1956.
I know the song. Yeah.
Yeah, Jan and Dean.
Jan and Dean, I know.
Yeah, Surf City.
Right.
Eric B. and Rakim. Hallelujah.
Yes.
That was back in the
That
days,
that was what, 80s?
1988.
Yeah.
Hall and Oates. That's a motorcycle driving by. Sorry, that's my wife. She's coming home. Hall and Oates.
Right.
Man Eater.
Man Eater.
1982. 1982 is
Wow.
damn,
And
man.
that was and they had hits before that.
Yeah, that was massive. James and Bobby Purity. Purified. Wow, can't read. Do you know who that is? Bobby
No.
Purified.
No.
I'm Your Puppet is the song from 1965.
I'm your
Uh,
puppet. I know the song.
yeah, Steely Dan,
Of
Do It
course.
Again. Uh, Marvin and Johnny, Tic Tac, not the Tic Tac that we all know and
Right.
love.
Tick tick tock.
1954. The Carpenters,
Yeah.
Close to You, 1970.
Wow.
Les Paul and Mary Ford,
Nice.
yeah, 1951. How High the Moon. Let's see if there's anyone here. The White Stripes.
Of
I'm
course.
gonna skip down a little bit. Sonny and Cher
That's right. Sonny
had a
and
big
Cher.
hit with "I Got You, Babe."
Mm-hmm.
Um, Boogie Down. I don't know what this one says. Boogie Down Productions. Okay. Ashford and Simpson. Remember them?
Solid
Solid
as a rock.
as a rock.
I actually like that song.
Yeah, I got to be honest. It was not one of my favorites. They have
Really?
tremendous songs that I love.
Yeah, yeah.
But that one particular song used to
Interesting.
drive me bananas
Really?
because they played it so much.
Yeah, yeah. It could.
I mean, they killed that thing.
Well, yeah, it was like every hour they would
Oh,
play that.
man, solid as a rock. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan. But Ashford and Simpson, they're amazing. Pet Shop Boys, remember them?
That's right.
Western
Western
Girl.
Girls. Yeah.
Western. Otis Redding and Carla Thomas. See, here's another group that you kind of think Otis Redding.
I mean, I know Otis Redding, but I
Yeah,
didn't
and then
know.
Carla Thomas, but they put them together with a song called Tramp from 1967.
I guess that's like the Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell thing.
I guess so, yeah. The Eurythmics, which you
Yeah.
mentioned,
Hmm.
Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. We never know what. She doesn't say.
It's true.
She just says this, and I don't get it. Jesse and Marvin, Peter and Gordon, Brooke Benton and Diane Washington. I mean, these are all things that I would go back, and I am dorky enough to do that. I go back and go to YouTube and check out some of their videos and check out some of their music because it's cool to find out. Air Supply,
Ah.
the one that you love. Here I am, the one that you
That you
love.
love.
Loggins and Messina.
Yes.
Your
Loggins
mama
and
don't
Messina.
dance and your daddy know rock and roll. That's from 1972.
Wow.
Uh, Here's the Sims twins. The Sims twins. I don't know what that is. Tears for Fears.
Yes.
We were just talking about them. Tears for Fears. Sometimes I get them. I used to get them confused with the Pet Shop Boys back
Yeah.
in the day.
Wow.
But Tears for Fears, they were great.
Yeah.
They sang "Everybody Wants to Rule the World." Crisscross. I guess theoretically, yeah.
Jump, jump.
Jump, jump. Yeah. Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway.
Ah, that's see
Where
both both
where is
of
the blood?
both of those are
Where
amazing
is the
separately and then
blood? Yeah,
amazing together.
they are. They work so well. Johnny and Joe, Over the Mountain, Across the Sea. Not too familiar with that.
No.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Look at that.
They're in there. Savage Garden, which I knew that they
Yes,
were
that's right.
a duet. Yarborough and the Peoples, Don't Stop the Music. I know the song. Don't stop the music. Don't stop. I can't remember how it goes now, but um, all right, we're almost wrapping up here because there's a lot. The Blues Brothers, Soul Man.
Yeah.
So those
Of
were,
course.
I mean, the Blues Brothers were, I mean, they really did play. They really did sing, and but they were sort of like not a real group or something. It was
Yeah.
like a movie group,
Yeah.
but they
True.
were they're still people still play them and they consider them right there. Um, this is called Radio Silence. Sorry, everyone. Oh, Wham! That's what I
Oh
wanted.
yes, Wham, of
Wham. Yeah.
course.
So they had I guess their big hit was "Wake Me Up for
Before
You."
you go. But
1983.
were they wait, weren't they Wham when Careless Whisper came out?
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
that was their biggest hit.
Oh, I think they're talking about their first hit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, or
That
maybe
makes
that
sense.
was
And then they had the Christmas song too. They was
iconic song year release. That's what this is called. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Wham. Yeah, they like we were talking earlier about Wham and George Michael and so many great songs that George sang. You know what? We were talking about Christmas earlier, George and I. We were talking about not on this show, but just before we went on the air about Frank Sinatra. And my kids listen to Frank Sinatra in the car, and it's songs that just Frank Sinatra songs, which are like give me a Sinatra song, a popular song. I've got you under
Under
my
my skin.
house. No, but like songs like that, basically. And oh, you make me feel so young. You make me
Hmm.
feel like spring is sprung. So that song comes on, and my kids always like this song reminds me of Christmas, and it kind of makes sense because Sinatra has like so many Christmas
It has
icons.
that vibe, yeah.
Yeah, but then I was remembering George Michael has Last Christmas, which is really kind of
That's
a
a
huge
huge
Christmas
Christmas
song.
song.
Yeah,
Constantly
it,
played on
it
Christmas.
always plays every year. I mean,
That's actually one of my daughter's favorite Christmas songs.
yeah, it's a good song. It's a really
You
good song.
you want to hear something interesting? I don't know if I told you this. That's one of her favorite. But do you know what Jordan's favorite Christmas song is?
Is if you're gonna tell me that it's Mariah Carey's song, then we're gonna just log off.
John, I don't even allow that song to be played in my house.
Okay.
They know in this house that I hate that song. I'm so disgusted by that song. No. Her yeah, don't even get me started.
It's just overplayed. It's not a bad song. It's too much.
No, I hate it. All right, but but her favorite Christmas song.
I'll have to-
You won't get it because you'll be like, really?
oh, really? Oh, okay. So, but it's a song that I would know.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You would know this. You would know the song as much as anybody.
White Christmas,
No,
chestnuts roasting on an
think
open fire.
Elvis.
Blue Christmas. Really? Oh my God! Do you know what? I remember having a conversation with Holland Cowger, the ex lead singer of our band, and that song came on. It was one of the it's one of the ones that I hate the most. Elvis song.
Really?
God bless her for liking it, and I love it. But it's for me, it's like it's over the top Elvis. Oh, blue, a Christmas without you. I mean, it's so.
So okay, so is that worse than Mariah Carey? You really okay? You're really gonna put that in the same category as Mariah Carey's song?
Bro,
Oh, come
I
on,
am
John.
a huge Elvis Presley
I
fan.
know,
I love everything that dude, but that one particular, and that's the only one.
but Mariah. Okay,
Only
but
one.
that Mariah
Mariah
Carey again
Carey.
has great songs
Love
too.
Mariah Carey.
But you're gonna put.
But you're talking about, you see, you're talking about two. We're talking about two different things. All right, let's we'll get back to duets in a second. We're talking about two different things. You're talking about song, and I'm talking about performance.
I
The way if Elvis would have sang it like "I'll have a blue Christmas without you." Okay, but because he sang it, because it drives me nuts because it's just he's almost imitating himself. Mariah Carey's song is just not a good Christmas song, but it's been overplayed to death. But it's
okay. So
she
what
has
you're
an amazing voice, so
so what
she
you're
sings
saying
it
that
the
if
way
he
she
sang
sings it.
that song right normal or without those
I would like
inflections,
the song
you would like the song more.
because I've heard others sing that song and I like it. I'll have a blue Christmas without you. It's nice. It's very nice. I'll have a
So for
blue
that, you're gonna put that in the category of Mariah Carey's Christmas song.
because of that.
You know what, John? That's it.
Sit on this, John.
Boy, how long have you been waiting in on that one? I didn't even know that was there. All right. Well, getting back to duets, duos.
Uh,
Oh,
hey,
I don't even know the Mariah Carey Christmas song. Well, how does it go? I don't even know it. I block it out. Like I literally,
no, I block it out too.
we
Actually,
don't play it. I don't even know how it goes.
it's
No,
Oh
don't
my
sing it.
God! Now I have Elvis in my head.
Oh, it's a good song, man.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm not saying that it's one of Elvis's best, but I can't put it in that category.
It's one of my favorite songs, man. That's the way I sing it, man. I'm Elvis Presley, man. What are you talking about?
Did you?
Oh,
You know, there's a video I saw by the way the other day of. We'll get back to duets in a second. Um, of Elvis right before his show. Have you seen that where he's really nervous?
yeah, backstage. Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen. Listen,
I know you've seen everything. It's the first time I'm seeing this.
whenever I see anything on Elvis that I have not seen, it has literally brought tears to my eyes because I've consumed everything online. My kids are a little sick of it too, but I've seen everything because my mom was such a huge fan that
Right.
she turned me on to all that. But yeah, no, that was from a documentary called Elvis Alive or something like that, and he's actually performing at a hotel that's opening up, a brand new hotel, which I think it was
Right.
like the Flamingo, one of those famous
Mhm.
hotels. But he was like the first performer to ever to launch this new hotel. So he got hired to come out, and it was sort of like right between the coming out of the military and
Yeah.
then coming back, and then the 68 special came out, which was a massive hit,
Yeah.
and then right after that he was going to go on the road again, because
Yeah.
now he finished his contracts. We'll do an Elvis show at some point, but
Yeah, we should.
he finished his movie contract, so now he can go back on the road,
Right.
and that was like one of his first things. So he's backstage and he's like pacing and
Yeah.
like sitting back going,
I never saw that. Like I
Oh,
never saw
yeah,
that
yeah,
side of him.
let me
know
tell
what I
you,
mean?
Elvis was a very, very sensitive dude, man. Like he'd be backstage, and unfortunately, there weren't enough people around him. I think we talked about this
Yeah.
last week also, that just could like just get him, tell him or just I don't know what you would do. I mean, the guy was like he was so iconic alive.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That it was
Yeah.
like it was whatever, But yeah, he was a very emotional and sensitive guy, and he was nervous, and he would forget words. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
I heard. Yeah.
that on that concert, he was gonna do the Simon and Garfunkel song, not "Bridge Over Troubled Water," but it's a song like that. He did do a cover of that once
Mhm.
live, which was incredible too. But he was doing a song, and he could not remember this one lyric, so he writes it down. No, I can't help this feeling. It wasn't a Simon and Garfunkel.
Deep inside of me.
What's that song?
Him.
I'm waiting for that. Uh, uh, I can't remember how it sounds. Anyway, but that there was a specific lyric he kept forgetting, so he wrote it down and everything. And on the show, he still messed it up.
Oh wow.
And then he just goes like this. And what do you want to
Yeah,
do? Can't
Frank
can't get
Sinatra
it.
made a living doing that.
Yeah, well, Frank, yeah, towards the well, I mean, he was
Well,
Frank. He could do
yeah,
whatever he wanted.
nobody cared. I mean, it was
Nobody
just
cared. He was Frank. I never saw. That's another show that we should do because I think Frank and Elvis and probably Michael Jackson and those kind of guys, where it's just one individual could just walk out, not do nothing, not do nothing, don't sing, don't dance, just stand there, and the place goes insane. Sinatra in '68 on that special where he does the round, he comes out, he's just standing there with a drink. The place is insane. The guy has not sung a note. He's got a suit on, crushes it. Elvis Presley, da-da-da, da-da-da, right?
yeah, yeah.
That obviously is huge. He comes out, right? But the music is playing. But if he's just walking somewhere,
Well,
same
that
thing
was
with
like Michael and the Bucharest special
oh my God.
when he
Did you hear
jumps
that?
out and
Yeah,
he
he was
stands
standing
there
there.
and literally like 5 minutes just standing there, and there's people fainting.
Fainting and they're being carried
They're
off
being
the
carried
side.
out, and he hasn't even sung a note.
And then he goes like this. 20
Yeah,
more go
and he goes,
past.
yeah. That's just
Bro, that's like an amazing ability. I mean, will we ever see that again? I doubt it.
I doubt it.
I doubt it. I think
Not to
TikTok
that
and
level.
all this stuff. Now everyone's a little celebrity in their phone. Everybody's like, and I'm gonna look how many likes I get. So now it's like it's different. It's a different world. But anyway, hey everybody, we're doing a show on duos.
This always happens on this show.
Yeah, this is what this is about. All right, let me just pull out a couple more names here. Nelson, remember them? They were kind of kid and play.
That was Gunnar and Matthew Nelson. They were the sons of
Ricky Nelson.
Ricky Nelson.
And that's right. They have a song called "Love and Affection."
Yeah.
1990. Kid and Play.
Kid and
Ain't Gonna
Play.
Hurt
I
Nobody.
remember that. Yep, I remember
Yeah,
them.
they were good. Let me check one thing real quick. What was the other one? Yeah, there was a lot of Soul Sisters. I don't remember them, but yeah, cool.
One you didn't mention,
I probably passed it.
Donnie and Marie.
Oh, you know what? It's not on here.
How could they not be on there?
That's so interesting. Let me look. I mean, maybe I missed it, but you know what? You are 100% right. You 100%.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. They're not on here, bro.
that is weird.
They are.
They
not
have
on
all these other ones that I'm like, but they don't have Donnie and Marie,
Marie. Yeah,
brother and
that's
sister.
That's so bizarre that they're not on there.
That is bizarre. That is.
That's
I
so
don't know.
crazy. I can't believe it.
Um,
So, it's you got it. Okay. Yeah.
and another duo, and this is a little bit. It's not because they're not both performers, but I still consider them a duo because of the way they worked together, and that would be Elton John and Bernie Taupin.
Yes. Very good. Yeah. Very good. That is definitely. Yeah, because I mean, you kind of like look back and you think, would there be a Elton at that level if there wasn't a Bernie?
Think about that, right? Yeah,
Or would there be a Bernie if there wasn't an
yeah,
Elton?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because some of those lyrics are just so incredible
Absolutely.
that you know. I mean, and Elton John's brilliance is in the melody and in his
Yeah.
ability to convey, the song. And it's really amazing when you find, because even Rush, you get somebody writing the lyrics and just sending them in, and then they just develop these things around this music around this song. They put it, it really is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Because you think a singer-songwriter may seem easier, or may seem harder to do, to write. You the singer, you're the songwriter, but I think that seems pretty hard too. Somebody's handing you lyrics and you having to like translate them into something. That seems pretty amazing.
Yeah,
too.
I never. I guess I can't get that concept of a lyric writer who writes it, because you hear the songs and you hear the lyrics and they're so matched perfectly, right, in a very well written song, but then it could have started out with just a blank piece of paper and words on it.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that guy? I guess writing is like you're writing a story. I understand that, but even when you're writing the story, you have to kind of write it in a more of a, like a poetic way,
Hmm.
so it can flow from one to the other. So
Yeah.
you still have to think kind of musically
Yeah, I mean
in order,
it's storytelling. It is, right. I mean
right?
it's definitely storytelling. And one of the I just went to go see Mitch Rossell last Friday. Was it last Friday I went to go see him? No, last Friday was no, that was Jesse Daniels. Jesse Daniels is amazing too. But before that, I went to go see Mitch, which I'm gonna go see him again next Saturday, in a town not far from here. Um, his songwriting is so cinematic. Like when you hear the song, you see the song. You
Yeah,
see the
yeah,
visions. You
yeah,
see that. It's really amazing as a songwriter, his ability to do that, and just an ability. Jesse Daniel I saw on Friday night here in Nashville, and the same thing. The stories are. These songs are 3 to 4 minutes long. And so you don't have a lot of time, but within that, that's why the phrasing has to be so good, and the the you have to tell the story honestly, but you
yeah.
can't complicate it.
Right.
You can't complicate it. You have to be really really communicate, which going back to one of our favorite bands, which is Rush. It may be one of the reasons why the mainstream radio doesn't always play them, even though they get played a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of their songs are really wordy.
Yes.
They could be I mean, there's a lot of metaphors in there. And they're made up metaphors even in there. There's a lot of um, visions that were conveyed in a way that was really just above a lot of people's
Yes.
you know uh, uh,
Sophisticated almost. It was
very
like, yeah,
sophisticated
yeah,
song. Yeah, that's what I mean. And because it's also surrounded with this prog rock kind of style, it can get lost the meanings. But if you go back, and I've done that, and you've done that, you go back to some of these songs and you read them. I think Limelight. People
yes,
don't even realize Limelight is like really a song about fame and
yep,
the struggle with fame and all that.
correct.
It's just really extremely well written song.
Yeah.
Tom Sawyer, I have no idea what it's about, but it's a song that it has to do with Tom.
And that was one of the only songs that was written by Neil and someone else.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah,
But it's interesting because then you get kind of the completely other side of it. Going back to the duos for a second, look at Steely Dan. Now, Steely Dan is one of those bands
Their
that
lyrics, I have no
you
idea.
could not give a crap about what these guys are saying. That's number one. Okay, most people don't know what they're saying, and most people don't care what they're saying. And number two, the singer is not even a great singer. Right? He just basipally almost talked the
Yeah,
lyric.
he's a
He was an average.
communicator. He's Mark Knopfler from
Yeah, he's got that
he's
style. Right.
yeah,
Yes.
he's a communicator.
Yeah. Exactly.
Bob Dylan,
Right. Right.
John
Yeah.
Prime. These are guys that can communicate a song but aren't known for their vocal ranges.
Right. But and my point is that right there, lyrically, who knows? But their
Yeah, like
music is
earrings.
but the music is so far beyond the lyrics that it's like you're it's not even the lyrics don't even have to be there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
just-
you listen to a song like Green Earrings,
Green earrings, yeah.
but even like the popular stuff like Josie and stuff like that,
Yeah.
there's not a lot. Peg,
Peg, yeah.
Peg. What's Peg about?
You still try to figure that out.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
There's another one. What's the other popular one?
Let's do it again. There's reeling in the years.
Yeah, well, really, in the years, I think it's probably the most understandable.
And that was like their first hit.
See what I mean? Like, because there were people I think people care about lyrics.
Yes.
It's like, we're listening to, sometimes people listen to songs and they don't even know what the song's about because they don't really care. They just like the beat.
Yeah.
And that's not really a majority of the people. People want to know what they're saying.
Sure.
They want to know what the song's about, especially if it's a ballad or if it's a song that's really captivating to the listener.
Right.
They want to know what the song is saying, But yeah, like a song like that, like Reeling in the Years, it was communicated, whereas it's talking about reeling in the years,
Yeah, yeah.
about getting older and life and stuff like that. And I think that communicated, and people really gravitate towards that, and And then I'm on the other side of it, where I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee, where Brooks and Dunn, by the way,
I was gonna mention Brooks and Dunn actually.
yeah, a huge duo group here,
Yeah.
country uh, legends, right? Um, but then you have on the other side of the coin where there's absolutely no holding back of what we're communicating. I went to the bar on Friday night.
Yeah.
She was standing there. She was dressed in white. I took her home late that night. It was just, and it's laid out, and it's much harder to do that because now you have to do that without sounding too cheesy, like what I just did.
Yeah.
You have to convey it in a way that listen. If you listen to Rich Rossell, you listen to people like George Lucas, um, Jesse Daniel. There's a couple others that I've listened to and that I've met that just have just a way with communicating simplicity in such a way that's so poetic and just sounds so amazing.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Agreed.
So we got somebody, Matthew Briggs says, "What's up, JHS? Hey, what's up, man? Chilling. We're chilling here. We're doing our thing Sunday nights, every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The artistblueprint.live. Visit www.artistblueprint.live."
I'm trying to think if there's any other duets or duos that I'm missing.
Well,
I mean, the Donnie and Marie thing blows my mind.
That's kind of like shocking. Yeah, I mean, there are just some honorable mentions that I would say. Daft Punk.
Yeah,
I don't know what they look like.
But yeah, because I was going to say nobody knows what they look like.
Who knows if those are just two guys and it's just not a bunch of guys? Because why don't you go out tonight?
At least they could go walking around the street. Nobody has no idea who they are.
Nobody has no idea. I think that was part of the reason why they did that. Roxette. Do you remember them?
Yes, must have been love.
Yeah.
How about Public Enemy?
Do you know that they sold over 75 million records worldwide?
I believe it. It's interesting about them. Like
5 million.
They came in like in the background, and had all these hits, and you sometimes you even forget
they were never like in the media.
They were not like out there.
No, but they were always like out there with their songs, but they were always just chilling.
Yeah.
You never heard too much controversy from them. I find Air Supply is a little bit like that too.
Yes.
They're still touring, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I follow them and whenever they go live, somebody on their staff or does a live stream from the concert for like a few minutes. So they'll do like 2 or 3 songs, and I'll see them, and they sound great. I mean, they sound great, and wow. It's unbelievable. But they're still out there doing their thing, and but you don't hear any controversy or anything. They just go out and they just make songs and stuff like that. I mean, they were so huge in the 80s.
Yeah. Did we mention Captain and Tennille?
Oh, we did not. Captain and Tennille. Yeah. I mean, it's weird because this is like the 100 greatest music duos, but Captain and Tennille is not on here. I mean, I would have definitely spotted them because love
will keep us together.
Yeah.
Great stuff, man.
Yeah. So let me see who else was on here.
Captain and Tennille. Wow.
But maybe the reason. No, it makes no sense why they're not on here. Let me see. Maybe there's another list. Let's just investigate here just a little bit more before we call it a day. Simon Garfunkel. No, they don't come up anywhere.
I don't know who's making these lists, but it's just.
Yeah, there are people here that I don't even know.
See, I would take out if you only had a certain amount of time or a certain amount of spaces, I would take out the ones who did one duet together.
Right.
And then put in the ones that were actually did a bunch of songs,
like the ones that were known as
right, exactly.
That's what I would. That's the more of the better list, But here, it says, the most successful pop duo of all time. Some places have the Carpenters.
So they're considered the most successful of all time?
For this here, which is on strawpoll.com, which is kind of a site I go to every once in a while just to look for stuff. they have like the most successful this, the most,
Right.
per polls that they put out. So they are that, but I don't. It depends on like who they're polling. You know what I
I
mean?
would, I would, I would, I would put
I
Simon and
still,
Garfunkel to me at the
I
top.
still have to put Simon and
I
Garfunkel.
maybe them part, a second, but I
Yeah,
would definitely put Simon and
yeah,
Garfunkel
yeah.
at the
Because I
top.
don't know who else would be, and Simon and Garfunkel, I think, had a much longer career.
Yeah,
I mean, not I don't know. I know Karen died very young, but I'm saying that their music from the '60s and '70s is still being played right now.
correct.
Pretty extensively on social media and on I mean, not social media, on the streaming channels. So I think that's, to me, it makes more sense for it to be Simon and Garfunkel.
I agree.
It's weird about music and stuff, and like selling records, right? Like sometimes you go like, who's biggest the biggest star of all time that has sold the most records of all time in the history of music, right? So like, talk amongst yourselves.
Busta Rhymes.
I don't know. So it says here. So it says here the Beatles
Sold the most records.
sold the most records, best
Okay.
selling artist worldwide as of 2022. Perhaps unsurprisingly, British rock band the Beatles are at the top of the list for best selling artists with 183 million units certified sales. Garth Brooks has 157 million
And he's
units.
number two.
He's number two. And Elvis
Interesting.
Presley with 139. So
But it would
it's
make
amazing that those three,
but you
three
know what?
are.
It would make sense though that it would be those guys because those guys, including Garth Brooks, because Garth Brooks has been around for a long time.
Yeah,
Those guys were doing it when album sales were the thing.
that's right.
Now album sales are not even a thing anymore.
No, no, it's all the downloads. But you have the list here is the Beatles, Garth Brooks, Elvis Presley, Eagles, Led Zeppelin, Michael Jackson, Billy Joel, Elton John, AC/DC, Pink Floyd, Bruce Springsteen, Aerosmith. I can go with
Interesting.
this list.
Yeah,
I can,
I could see that.
George Strait, Barbara Streisand, Mariah Carey, Rolling Stones, Madonna, Metallica, Eminem, and Whitney Houston to top it off there at the 20 or whatever that is.
That sounds right.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds right.
But it's interesting that even though the Beatles would be number one, but when you look at streaming, Beatles are not even like in the top. I think they're like down like 4 or 5 or even lower than that. Just
Really?
like today, streaming today.
Yeah.
When you look at like monthly streams and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think monthly streams, also just streaming in general, I think it caters to a younger
A
audience.
younger, yeah, the
Even
newer.
though, well, we've talked about and we've said many times on this show from the article that we've read, and I don't know if that statistic has gone up or down, but remember from Ted
Goya.
Goya. So from his article, 70% of all music being streamed today is music that's 30 years or older.
Yeah,
So that to me just says that, again, this music that we're talking about, the Beatles, Garth Brooks, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, that music holds up enough where people that are our age and younger people are playing it.
That's right.
Like I went to one of the guitar stores the other day, and I was walking around, and about 4 kids came in. Kids, I mean, they're, I don't know, 18, 19 years old. You could tell they're in a band, and they're coming in looking at the guitars, like you and I used to go to, like
Yeah.
Sam Ash or something, or Manny's.
yeah.
So we would, so they're walking in, and they asked the guy. He's like, they're looking for they're looking for a specific bass that the guy from I forgot his name, from Nirvana played. I forgot his name. But they're like, do you have the Kurt Cobain bassman? And the guy was like, Kurt Cobain one? He's like, I don't know about. But my point is, these kids are 18 years old, 19 years old. They're talking about Kurt Cobain,
Cobain, yeah.
who was in the 90s over 30 years ago.
That's right.
He's been gone a very long time already, about 30 years, over 30 years now, and there's still that still passion, going on. Same thing with like when you go, any of these bands come to play in Nashville, they play here at the big arena, then it's all sold out. The
Yeah.
Eagles played here nights, every night after night, sold out. It's like, it could be a combination of also people that are older that have money now. Those
Yeah.
guys that grew up with those guys, now are in their our age. Well, I guess the Eagles are not of our generation.
No, they're
They're older.
older. Yeah.
But still, we grew up listening to the Eagles all on the radio, all through
Right.
all of the 80s and 90s. But people that were there in the 70s, now they're like in their whatever 60s and 70s, and they have money that they can go spend a couple $1,000s to go see
True.
the Eagles and all these legends and stuff. So I think that that's has a little bit to do with it as well. But the streaming numbers are just clear. You can go out there right now and ask people, do you know who Michael Jackson is? Do you know who Prince is? Do you know who Metallica is? Do you know who the Rolling Stones are? Do you know, I mean, these are veteran bands that have been around for 40, 50 years, and young people are going to know who they are.
Yeah,
But
they cross those generations.
they
Yeah.
cross that, yeah. But a lot of the music that's being put out today, not a lot of it, but a good portion of it that's being streamed, the shelf life isn't as big.
Correct. Correct.
The shelf life isn't as big, and I think time that's going to be that's going to be a lot more apparent as the years go by, where
Correct.
we're going to go back and people are going to be like, I just want to listen to Billy Joel and Elton John.
But I think also the Kurt Cobain thing, I think they represented at the time the anti-establishment movement, where the young generation, even at that time, was so into them because they just threw it against the wind and did whatever and I think that representation follows. So I think kids can still listen to those guys. Even my daughter knows a lot of their songs. They listen to them today and they could still relate to them even as a young 18-year-old today.
Yeah, and the music was really good.
Yes, there's that.
It was put well together. It was, but then you go back and like they represent that whole movement from the Seattle years, where there's the Mudbone and you have all the Alice in Chain and Soundgarden, and those guys and Pearl Jam, of course, that started really, because that's kind of a rebellious thing, like that movement was rebellious. But then you can go back, Jimi Hendrix is from Seattle too. I mean, he's
Sure.
The roots were there at some point, so there is something there. And then another point on these, Kurt Cobain and all, they're all influenced by, there's the punk movement that happened in the 70s, so it's only really, if you think about now, you think about Nirvana as still in our views, that they were like the new thing that came out during that 30 years ago, but they were only 20 years away. When they came out in the 90s, 1990, 91, they were only 20 years from like the Sex Pistols and
that's right,
and the Ramones.
The Ramones, the Ramones. The Ramones were, a lot of people didn't know the Ramones, but they were like right there.
Yeah, the Ramones were like right in the thick of things, and they were like, so I think
even early Police.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, early Police and Blondie and
that's right.
Those bands that performed during the CBGB days and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that always comes forward, and always will influence young bands and stuff like that, and it will influence duets or duos to get together, which is what this show is about. So anyway, let us know what your favorite duo is. We have a picture here, and can you name all of these? There's some of them that I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't name.
Like I see Steely Dan in the middle there.
Yeah, of course.
I see Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears. Yep.
I see Wham at the bottom.
Who's
Sam and Dave.
Who's that? That's not Robert Plant and Alison Krauss there? Is that all the way on the right? Or is that Michael Bolton? I can't.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that is actually him. Because then if you go all the way across, then you'll see him again with Jimmy Page.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
See Robert Plant,
yes,
Jimmy Page. Here's Robert Plant and Krauss. And then over here you have Ike and Trina. Then you have what's their name? The White
The
Stripes.
White
No, the
Stripes.
is it the White Stripes?
The
No,
ones
no,
in
no.
the ones in the middle.
Yeah, with the red.
Yeah, is that
Yeah,
yeah
that's the
yeah?
brother.
That's the White Stripes.
I mean, they were married and then divorced, whatever.
Crosby, Stills, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know where Nash is, but Crosby, Stills. But
So the
they,
Crosby, Stills, and Nash started with them too.
yeah.
Okay,
Well, remember a lot of these guys back in that time, they were in other bands
they
too.
right
Remember,
exactly, and they just
so
kind of put them.
Buffalo, yeah, Buffalo Springfield had Nash.
That's right. Yeah,
He
yeah,
was in
yeah.
that, yeah, and then he can. That's where he had the song. There's something happening here. What it
Yeah.
is ain't exactly clear. You
Yes.
know that song. And then they got together and stuff because of their harmonies were amazing. There's Hall and Notes, Simon and Garfunkel. Um, I think those are the Everly Brothers up here.
Is that
Um,
Clapton? That's not Clapton, right?
where
With the guy with no shirt and the vest.
the guy with no
Looks
shirt
like
on
him.
the vest. Where's I don't see that.
It's right
Oh
next to
no,
Steely Dan.
that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know who that is. That's one of the ones that I don't know.
Oh,
If
interesting.
you go up here, you'll see Tenacious D. See them?
Tenacious D.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
there. They're freaking hilarious. They're really good too. Anyway, so these are some of the duets, and here's the Eurythmics at
The
the bottom,
Rhythmics, yeah.
and the
That's
top
right.
corner. I don't know who that is up there. I don't know who that is, but
Huh.
Fred and Wilma. No, I'm not sure. But yeah, so that is our show. Duets. I keep saying duets,
Duos.
duos. We
Duo.
should do a show on duets because duets are also like really popular duets that have taken like we talked about last week with Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. That was a huge hit song.
That's the
They
one
get
thing I
together.
gotta say. Sorry, that's the one thing I gotta say about music today is that now everybody's doing duets now.
They are.
Yes, if you look at the young artists today, the Selena Gomez's and these artists who are out today, they're all on each other's albums now.
Yeah, but see, it's different. It's really different
It's become
because
like a just a normal thing instead of a like a
like a
like a
special,
surprising special
yeah,
thing.
like a
Right.
special thing. But I think also that the fact that it's called a feature,
Right.
and it's features are different than a duet, in my opinion. Now, this is because I'm old school, but I think that you get together, you get a guy like what's the guy from the Righteous Brothers? What's his name? The
Bill Medley.
Bill Medley and the other Linda Ronstadt. No, not Linda Ronstadt.
The other righteous guy.
No. The duet that he
Oh,
did.
you're okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bill Medley and not Jennifer
Now
Warren. Not
I
Jennifer
had
Warren.
the time of my life.
What was
Right?
her name?
I can't
Jennifer
remember.
Warren. Isn't that Jennifer Warren? No, not Jennifer Warren. Right?
Let's find out. So,
No.
ay, ay, ay. So, yeah, Jennifer Warrens.
Jennifer Warren. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like back, when you had the duets, you had like a special occasion where it was the song that brought these people together. Matter of fact,
Yes.
when when Bill was leaving the studio after he recorded that, he did say it's gonna get its Grammy.
Wow.
The song was so powerful. You know,
Interesting.
the same thing with Aaron Neville when he sang that song
With Linda Ronstadt.
with Linda Ronstadt. That's what I was thinking before. He said the same thing. He said it's going to get us a Grammy.
Wow.
They got the Grammy, because it was an occasion of bringing people together because of a song that
Yeah.
someone had. This would be great for this. This would be great. Barry Gibb says, "Hey, you know who would be great for this song? Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton." And they both sang "Island in the Stream," huge, massive hit. But there was an occasion. There was a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
It
True.
wasn't like, "Hey, I got this song that I just wrote. You want to come sing on it?"
True.
That's a feature,
True.
which is okay, which is
True.
fine. But like, where are the songs like "Endless Love," Lionel Richie and Diana Ross?
That's
You know,
right.
where's the Marvin Gaye with
Tammy Terrell.
Tammy Terrell? You know what I mean? Those are the songs that those to me those are duets. Even and then I think that was it Sinatra that really kind of developed the duet album of
Yeah.
inviting writing a lot. Right, it was Sinatra, right? That did that.
Sinatra did a duets album
Yeah, and then
with
everyone else kind of followed
yeah,
along. I think
yeah, because then Tony Bennett did it, and
Bennett
then all
did
these
it.
yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of people then find Weird Al. Weird Al. No, I'm kidding. But I could do that. I'm a big fan of Weird Al. So I think that's more special,
Yeah,
and I feel
agree.
like sometimes that gets lost
Yeah,
in
yeah,
music.
I agree.
Where are the songs that are really bringing people? Country music, we still do that. We still I'm all country now.
Wow.
That came out so naturally. We still do that over here. No, but I mean, here in Nashville, they do that here.
Well,
Somebody
country music has kept its roots. It's
roots,
kept
yeah,
its way of doing
yeah, and it,
things.
it does it has it's in a weird place right now. Like you'll see some of the traditional artists talk about it
Yeah.
because it's almost like a rock. Like Morgan Wallen is a perfect example, right? Morgan Wallen is great.
Mhm.
I mean, he's country. He's from Nashville. But he's got some songs that if John Mayer sang would be hits.
Yeah.
They're just pop songs
Right.
with a twang.
That's right.
So it's the authenticity of it is not all in country. But what they do here is that they bring artists together specifically to get a song recorded that they have. Somebody has a great song. This would be great for Reba McEntire
Yeah.
and Tony Orlando. Um, I don't know, Tony Orlando. I like Tony Orlando too. All right, I think that's it. We've exhausted the topic to a certain degree. We can always go a lot deeper on all these. So let us know what you thought. If we missed anybody, obviously there's a couple that we just caught on while we were doing it, like Donnie and Marie, and that was kind of strange because they did
that was
record records together that were out.
Yeah.
So but if there's anything that we missed, let us know, and we will be back next week, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate you. We also understand that there's a ton of things that you can be doing on a Sunday night rather than watching these two mugs talking smack. But we appreciate it. If you're here, it means a lot to us. So thank you very much. And we hope you keep coming back and telling your friends. And please like and subscribe and do all the things that you're supposed to be saying at this time of the show. And we will see you all again next week with another topic. And we're gonna have some guests. Guests are coming. They're lining up, and we just have to have a block of time to actually put them out there, and to do it properly is our big thing. Is we want to make sure we do them properly. So we do have some amazing guests coming out. So, all right, folks, thank you very much, George. As always, thank you, sir, and I will see you all. And as always, peace.